Hello beautiful and welcome to makeup. I'm gonna say this now, originally this was supposed to be one video, but after 36-ish hours of research, oh, it's just not possible. There's so much. Welcome back to another water cooler convo makeup. I'm so sorry that my accent keeps getting in the way. I am in fact saying water cooler, not watercolor. I've seen a lot of those comments recently. It is water cooler, like when you're at work having a cheeky little goss, cheeky little chat with your work friends around the water cooler. So I talk about either the things that you want me to talk about or I want me to talk about, or sometimes we even meet in the middle and I talk about the things that we both want me to talk about. But at the same time, I do my makeup because I want to. Recently in these adventures, I've been doing a lot of analysis and a lot of in-depth, dense like a cheesecake conversation. So I thought, let's do something a little less tasking. So I thought that I would try and come up with a complete timeline of the history of the beauty community scandals. I was so wrong. There's so much. Because I keep seeing comments like the beauty community is so toxic. My overall viewpoint on it is one bad apple ruins the bunch. Granted, it's more than one bad apple. Granted, it's more than just a bunch of apples. But there are so many big and small creators who are just here because they love makeup. They want to put it on their face. They want to give tutorials. They want to test out new products. Let you guys know what they think is worth it and what they don't think is worth it. They aren't just showing us the external beauty. They're also showing us their inner beauty. But then there are some creators who genuinely just seem to feed off of drama and scandals, and it's like, could you not for a brief little moment, just a tiny little snippet? Then there are people in the middle who are positive and are super welcoming and are super lovely, but every now and then they just like to get a little bit messy sometimes, which is why overall I wouldn't class the whole entire beauty community as toxic, because yes, there are some very questionable creators out there, I'll give you that, but also there are some really genuine, really gorgeous, really beautiful from the inside out creators who I think get overlooked way more than they should. And I don't think it's fair to umbrella term the beauty community as toxic, because that also brings those genuine creators underneath the umbrella when they don't deserve to be there, because they have done nothing but put out just beautiful, positive vibes. Also, disclaimer, please, this video is meant for just some cheeky banter, some cheeky goss, some cheeky bit of fun. I do not want any creator or any company that I'm discussing in this video or the next video getting any hate or harassment because of anything that I've talked about, especially because everything that I'm talking about in this video has happened 3+ years ago. So it doesn't seem fair to any creators that I discuss specifically in this one to get hate for something that has already been reconciled or apologized for in the past. Not that I expect any of you to go out and spread hate or harass any of the creators or companies that I'm talking about in this video, but at the same time, I need to explicitly state that I do not encourage or endorse any hate or harassment going out to anyone that I discuss in these two videos. So let's keep it fun, let's keep it cheeky, let's keep it a little bit gossy, let's keep it a bit bantery, and keep it to this channel and keep it to the comment sections of these videos. The beauty community for me is such a fun one because I genuinely look at it as if it's like one of those cute little girlfriend groups at high school, the ones that are constantly in a love-hate relationship. They're fighting one day, next day they're sisters, next day it's like, oh my god, I missed you so much. I find it fascinating. We're messy, but we love it! Woo! YouTube launched officially February 25th, 2005. But the heights that it was going to reach with everything that we now know today was literally a pipe dream. Originally, YouTube, or at least the way that I saw YouTube, was just a fun place to post videos. Most of the time it seemed to be a lot of like home movies that were posted to YouTube that had some sort of slapstick comedy to it. And then eventually I got to Harry Potter Puppet Pals. But as time went on and people's followers started to grow and people's viewership started to grow, there seemed to be a viable fame and a viable income to this platform. People always talk about how money and fame changes people. It wasn't just the people that started to change, it was also the platform itself, because businesses and companies started to realize that there was legitimate money to be made on the platform for themselves as well. They could either advertise in the way of AdSense, or they could approach specific creators and pay them for promotion. So the original innocence of the platform, where you could just find any kind of home movie and upload it to the internet for a cute little giggle, was no longer a thing, because businesses and companies realized what a viable marketing tool it was, and as they realized, so did some of the YouTubers. The beauty community is one of the communities on YouTube that really felt this shift, because we originally had tutorials and get ready with me's. Get ready with me's? Sure, let's go with that. Either way, we went from that to reviews of makeup so that people could tell if it was worth their money to buy a specific makeup product. But now with so much money being pushed into the beauty community and so much tea, drama, scandals, woo! It's hard to see if a review is an innocent review or if a creator is being paid for a positive one. There's been quite a few scandals in the past about this kind of stuff. So there's now kind of this miscommunication and distrust. It's one of those things where it hasn't just been the individual creators that have changed, but it's been the industry as a whole that's changed, which I know does go against my original point, but I still stand by the fact that there are some creators out there who don't deserve to be lumped into this toxic umbrella term. But regardless, let's start at the beginning. I am going to say that I tried my absolute hardest to try and get every single tea, drama, scandal that exists out there on the internet, but it is hard, especially for the earlier years, because the internet wasn't as like fast and quick and saved everything back then. So I tried. I've definitely missed something. I'm so sorry that I've missed something. I feel like I've missed something. I just don't know what I've missed. Let's start at the beginning. So between the origins of YouTube itself and about 2014, there seemed to only be one creator, one business that was really getting themselves into scandals. And that was Lime Crime and DeRay? I'm so sorry that I don't know how to pronounce that last name. The first being in 2008, where Doe wore a Hitler costume to Halloween. Yeah, that happened. Lime Crime was also launched in 2008, so this scandal did come and bite them in the tush later. Then in 2009, there was a scandal with repackaging makeup, which, yes, is morally and ethically questionable, but unfortunately, it is just a thing that happens with certain companies in the makeup industry. It's one of those things where we as the consumer have to watch out for itty bitty red flags. Then in 2010, allegedly Doe had gotten themselves into quite a few feuds with a few different beauty bloggers at the time, but in 2010 that went kind of a step further. With this specific feud, it involved a blogger called Christine, and apparently Doe had sent out Christine's email to all of the regular customers from Lime Crime so that they could correct Christine on their negative review of some of the lipsticks that Lime Crime had just released, which invited and essentially encouraged a lot of hatred, bullying, and harassment of Christine, which that is... I don't think I really have to state how not cool that one is, but... someone apparently did that. Then in 2012, that's right, we're not done yet. Lime Crime released a 5-shade eyeshadow palette called China Doll, which on the front of the packaging had a model with Caucasian features, but wearing traditional Japanese garments. The CEO at the time, Doe, made a few comments, statements, and apologies at the time, of course, but allegedly in one of the statements said that they found cultural appropriation to be a little bit silly, which, as you're probably assuming, that did not go over well either. Then in either late 2014 or early 2015, depending on what article you read, depends on what kind of date you get, but either somewhere in that range, Lime Crime's website got hacked and there was a huge security breach and people's details were stolen and people lost a lot of money. Lots of people weren't happy, unsurprisingly. There's a lot of conflicting kind of information out there, so I'm just going to give you the brief rundown because I can't tell you what has officially happened and what hasn't officially happened, but I cannot tell if people were actually reimbursed of their money because some places are saying that it didn't, some places are saying that it did, and it's like, what is going on? But apparently when this all happened, Doe made a few statements saying that there wasn't anything that really alerted Lime Crime until it was unfortunately too late. But also the statement of, hey, we've been hacked, was put on Instagram for customers to be notified, not emailed to them, which doesn't really make sense to me. And of course, a lot of the customers were angry, they were pissed, they were livid, especially if they were the ones that lost money, especially if they were the ones who had their details stolen. They were so angry, and the way that the CEO seemed to handle the situation just wasn't good enough. I agree with them on that one. It just wasn't good enough. Running a makeup company just isn't about what looks good and what looks good on the face and what textures feel good and like what color mapping you want to have or color story you want to have. Running a makeup company isn't just about that. It's also about knowing who to hire for what job to make sure that everything is running smoothly and cohesively. And that also includes hiring someone to run the security part of your website. If you are someone who is running a makeup business and you don't know how to do that, take a step back from launching, learn how to do that, and then launch later. My personal opinion. You don't have to know how to run security, just know who to hire and make sure they're doing their job. In saying all of this though, Doe and their partner have since sold Line Crime in 2018, but they stayed on board just as kind of a guide so that the new owners knew how to run Line Crime in a way where the loyal fans didn't feel jaded by the departure of Doe and their partner. And then in July 2020, Doe and her partner did move away completely from Line Crime, so they no longer have any kind of input into the company. Now that all that's done, as for the rest of 2014, in July we had one of the first beauty creator scandals, and this was none other than the amazing goddess herself, Michelle Phan, which I completely forgot about this one, and in all honesty, I don't really think it's her fault, but also I've been naive in the past. Either way, in 2014, Michelle Phan was being sued by Ultra Records for copyright infringement. Michelle was either using their tunes as background music or over the top of the silent makeup application things that she used to do in her videos. With YouTube, there's typically two ways to get around copyright. The first is to make transformative content, which makes the copyrighted material fair use, or just to buy the licensing to the copyrighted material. But that costs. And in all honesty, fair use can be quite subjective at times. So it gets a little bit dicey depending on whose content you are transforming, you are fair using. Ultra claimed that Michelle had no licensing for the copyrighted material that she was using, and also that it wasn't in any shape, way or form fair use or transformative. So they were requesting $150,000 per copyright infringement with at least 50 examples of copyright infringement. That's a lot of money. Michelle counteracted by saying that originally Ultra had reached out to her by sending her CDs in her PR, is what I found. But Ultra once again came back and said that no such licensing had ever existed. From what I found, a settlement has been reached, but neither party has really made the settlement public. So it's happened, but we just don't know how it's happened. Now let's skip to November, where we have our first scandal with British beauty YouTuber Zoella. November 25th, Zoella released her first book, A Girl Online. This was Zoella's first book, and people were so excited to not only have it just be Zoella publishing a book, but also a YouTuber publishing a book, because it was a huge step into mainstream media. I'm not sure if she was the first one, but she was definitely one of the first ones. So for us to continuously keep breaking down those barriers, it just means that YouTube was able to come more into mainstream than just staying on a platform which people thought had no real value behind it. So when the news dropped that a ghostwriter had been involved, the internet and Zoella's audience were quite angry because they felt as though they had been lied to. I couldn't find if Zoella said at all or promoted at all that this book was solely her work and only her own work. If that's the case, that's just straight up lying, fam. Don't do that. And if that's not the case, then it was just simply people assumed that it was her own work and she never corrected them. Otherwise, she was lying by omission, which still isn't great, and it's still lying at the end of the day. Either way, understandably, the internet was quite peeved, quite annoyed, quite pissed off that they'd either been lied to directly or lied to by omission. But in saying that, Zoella has since released another 4 more books, 2 being sequels to this original Girl Online. These 2 scandals specifically, I don't feel any kind of sort of way about. In my personal opinion with Michelle's, either there was a complete misunderstanding or the record company itself was just exploiting her channel, her views, and her subscribership. As for this scandal specifically with Zoella, I find it a bit frustrating because I don't think anyone back then expected her or pressured her to be this amazing award-winning novelist or anything like that. So if she just came out straight off the bat and said, hey, these are my stories, my characters, my everything, but I have a ghostwriter involved, I have someone else on board so that the book is to the standard that I want, so that there is a cohesion to the book itself. If she just said that there was a bit of a team working on it with her, I don't think anyone would have had an issue. So this scandal could have been just completely avoided. For 2015, there seems to be like 2 littler scandals. I couldn't really find anything for 2015, which is what makes me think that I genuinely missed something, because 2 just doesn't seem like the correct amount, but also the internet was way smaller. There wasn't much hype in the beauty community, so I guess it makes sense. I just feel as though I'm definitely missing something because of it. But the 2 smaller scandals I found, they're not small, but they seem avoidable. Kat Von D got called out for one of the names in her studded lipstick collection being underage red. People just found it weirdly sexualizing being underage, which was a weird vibe. So she got called out for that, which, like, yeah, you could have picked any other kind of name. Raspberry, cherry, fire truck. Then in 2015, CEO of Gerard Cosmetics was called out for calling creator Karina Kaboom the ugliest person ever. Just don't say it. Like, you didn't have to say it. Either way, CEO was called out for it. There was a huge amount of backlash for the CEO and for the company itself. And since then, but later in the timeline, Jaclyn Hill actually cut ties with Gerard Cosmetics as well. People have said in articles that it was because of this incident, but I couldn't find any concrete information. Also, when doing all of this research, I hit an absolute mental wall. There was not enough coffee in the world to save me from that one. But a huge thank you to everyone that commented on the community post that I put up, because you really helped me in getting together a lot of the information that I have not only in this video, but in the other video. So thank you to all of these comments for helping me out with this video. I could not have gotten through it without every single one of you. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. Also with my makeup, I'm doing something a teeny bit different because I also saw a comment saying that they would love to see a crisper kind of outside to my eye, because usually I like to do a cute little buffety smoke out kind of situation. I don't know, I just vibe it, I just like it. But someone said, hey, I would love to see you do something a little bit more crisp. So I'm giving it a shot. We'll see how it goes. Let me know down in the comments how you think that goes. But I also saw another comment saying, hey, I see that you seem to stick to warm tones when it comes to doing your eyeshadows. I would love to see you do something a little bit more cool toned. I would love to see you do something like green. So this is for those 2 comments. We're going for something a little bit more crisp. We're going for something cool toned. We're going for green. I'm excited to see how this turns out. That's everything up to 2015 covered. Now let's get to 2016. This is where everything really starts to go downhill, in my personal opinion, because 2016, 2017, like, everything just starts to have a lot going on now. So in 2016, let's start with Kylie. So Kylie Jenner started her cosmetics line, Kylie Cosmetics, and in 2016, she had one of her first... In 2016, she actually had quite a few scandals, but the first cab off the rank for the Kylie Cosmetics scandals is the lip gloss situation that happened. I completely forgot that this was even a thing. Kylie had her liquid lips going, everyone was loving them, everyone was hyping them up, and then the lip glosses dropped, and oh boy, the internet had an absolute field day with this one, because people received their lip glosses and the applicator wand was... It had more split ends than I did when I bleached my hair to absolute filth. People were comparing it to the doll from the Rugrats. The memes of it were very, very fun, I'm not going to lie. Of course, Kylie received a lot of backlash for this one because people paid their hard-earned money to get some of this makeup product, and it just came to them It just came to them awfully. It came to them disgustingly. Like, the applicator was just trash. It was trash by the time it got to them. How were they supposed to use the makeup with a wand that was just... After all the backlash from Twitter and a lot from Jeffree Star, Kylie released a statement. The statement essentially saying that all production of the lip glosses had been ceased. New applicators would be developed. Replacement applicators would be given to the people who were given the faulty applicators, and that eventually the lip glosses would be re-released with better applicators so that this was not to happen again. But then, again... in April, Kylie Cosmetics is back in the news for something different. This time it is the working conditions of the factory workers. After the lip kit's doing well and the lip gloss kit's doing really, really well, there was an increased supply and demand for Kylie Cosmetics. And this is what quite a few articles have said is kind of what happened to make this working condition situation happen. But a lot of workers at Spatz Laboratories, where Kylie Cosmetics is produced, came out and said that the working conditions for the Kylie Cosmetics was like working in a sweatshop, which is not good. People said that the working environment was unrealistically fast-paced just to meet quotas for the minimal pay that they were all receiving, but also for new employees, the standards were unrealistically high, and in certain claims there were some harsh criticisms on the management. Some workers said that they had a completely different experience working in Spatz Laboratories, the laboratory where Kylie Cosmetics is developed and produced, and Spatz Laboratories also made statements completely denying the negative comments that people were putting on Indeed.com and supporting the positive ones, which it's their company, so I'm not surprised. So with this one specifically, I'm not sure who's right, I'm not sure who's wrong, because it is unfortunately a lot of he said, she said. But I think Kylie and her team possibly should have done more research into the lab that would be producing and manufacturing her makeup, just to make sure that they would be able to keep up with the supply and demand that wouldn't be jeopardizing the health and the well-being of the workers on the line. Then in May, we have a situation with Kylie Cosmetics once again, but this time it's both Kylie Cosmetics and ColourPop Cosmetics. Because in May, beauty YouTuber Stephanie Nicole did a video comparing Kylie's old formulas to Kylie's new formulas in her liquid lipsticks. Nicole then further compared the formulas to ColourPop's liquid lipsticks, and she found quite a lot of similarities between the formulas. This sparked a whole controversy into, is Kylie liquid lips the same as ColourPop liquid lips, ColourPop existing for longer than Kylie Cosmetics. To this day, both Kylie and ColourPop say that the formulas are indeed different. There has been a scandal between ColourPop and Kylie since this incident, but with the formula specifically, both parties have said that the formulas are completely different. However, ColourPop does own a makeup manufacturing lab called Spatz. Spatz being the lab that also manufactures all of Kylie Cosmetics. So people found this situation to be a little bit too coincidental for it to not be anything else. I'm not saying whether it is, I'm not saying whether it isn't, I'm just saying that huge coincidence, there's similarities. I don't know the chemistry or the formulas for either lipstick, so I really can't say. Then, after criticizing Kylie Cosmetics so heavily, Jeffree Star got himself into a bit of an issue when it came to the release of his King Tut Highlighters. People were so excited to get their hands on this. I still remember how people were rushing to get this King Tut highlighter from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. When people received it, it was a different story because lots of people had coming to their house shattered highlighters. And I'm not talking a cheeky crack down the middle, I mean shattered. I mean it came to them as not pressed powder, it just came as powder. I think this situation got a lot of hype for two reasons. The first reason that only a few months beforehand, Jeffree was like heavily criticizing Kylie for having just low quality product shot to people's houses. So when Kylie's lip glosses get there and everything's frayed and apart, she gets heavily criticized, and Jeffree was a part of that. So when his highlighters came shattered, everyone was like, hi pot, meet kettle. But also it took a bit for Jeffree to respond because he was trying to figure out exactly what happened. But eventually Jeffree released a statement saying that people would be getting full refunds if their highlighters came shattered. But also according to Jeffree, the situation happened because of a mishandling of a few thousand highlighters by a third party. So I don't know, a post kind of system just dropped a crate of them or something like that. Then we had the Kymajesty drama scandal tea moment. Kymajesty was this like metallic-y blue kind of liquid lip that was coming out, and unfortunately for some, the product was coming to them essentially empty. Like people were able to get the lipstick and just like swirl it around the inside and just streak off until you had no product there. So everything was essentially coming empty to people. Also, people were kind of annoyed with the payoff of the liquid lip because on Kylie's Instagram, she posted a photo specifying that that was the liquid lip that she was using, that it was going to be dropping soon. Yay, awesome, we're so excited for it. But then when people were wearing it, they were like, this isn't the same product. These two things just don't look alike. So people were also annoyed because it felt like there was a bit of false advertising going on. But unfortunately with this situation, it's one of those ones where it's like, it happened. There's evidence that it happened. And I remember it happening. Like it existed. But for the life of me, I can't find how it was resolved. I don't know if people got refunds. I've probably overlooked something. I've definitely overlooked something because there had to be some sort of a resolution from it. I'm guessing that people were reimbursed. I'm guessing that people were given their money back or given like a more filled up product probably. But for the life of me, I just cannot find it. I have all my little notes here so I don't forget about anything and so that I know what everything is so that I can talk about everything in the correct kind of detail with all the information that I have. And I feel as though this is where the beauty community went from like little bits of drama, like, oh, my palette came broken, oh, my lip gloss came kind of screwed up, oh, this happened, to feuds, because in July 2016, that is where we had the huge feud between Kat Von D and Jeffree Star. I rewatched the videos again. I rewatched Kat Von D's video. I rewatched Jeffree Star's video. Kat Von D's video on a neat little package was essentially her calling out Jeffree Star's character, as well as specifying that Jeffree had not paid artist BJ Betts for the design of Jeffree Star's logo, which is on everything to do with Jeffree Star's makeup line and also clothing as well at this point. And her video was essentially a public breakup between two friends. Jeffree Star a few days later responded with his own video. In that video, he expressed that some of his family had been doxxed. His family members were apparently receiving death threats because of the situation. And Jeffree also specified in his video that Kat's video was just aggressive lies. There was a lot of information in Jeffree's video, but essentially he said that he didn't steal any art. He was inspired by the art, and even then he did pay BJ for the inspired art later when his makeup company was finally making money and he had the funds to do so. After this collection of videos, this collection of drama, both ceased contact with each other, both blocked each other on social media, and it just kind of seemed to be that. In recent years, people have started to think maybe Kat was actually warning us about the real Jeffree that we see in Dramageddon and Carmageddon and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I just see it as some high school BS. It was a public breakup between two friends that got messy. Yes, there was some real issues and topics talked about, but I think it was just almost an excuse for them to break up publicly and get some clout from it. Really, this situation just kind of seems pointless. So also in 2016, we had the Nikki Tutorials Too Faced situation, which my heart genuinely goes out to Nikki in this situation. This is just so sad. July 2016, Nikki collaborated and launched a collection with Too Faced, being the power of makeup after her viral video in 2015, The Power of Makeup. People were of course so excited for Nikki and so excited for this collection to drop. She did a video revealing the palette as well, and it just looked fabulous. Not like my eyeliner, what is this? When Nikki announced the collaboration in her video, she did a swatch, she did a test of all the makeup, she did everything with the makeup to show us what we would be buying, and it, in all honesty, looked absolutely incredible, absolutely stunning. But when the palette got to people that bought it, the quality just wasn't the same that Nikki showed in her video, and people were outrageously disappointed in not only her but also Too Faced. This is very much where the situation becomes a set of allegations against Too Faced, because apparently behind Nikki's back, when everything was said and done, they changed the quality of the collection. So the quality that she had in her video was very different to what was going to be produced, manufactured, and sent out to fans, sent out to the people that bought the palette. She apparently had no idea that this was going on, but not only with that, but further, and this is the information that essentially Jeffree Star dropped in that docuseries, Nikki was only given a flat fee for this collaboration. She was paid out $50,000 and that was it. It was all said and done. That was all she was going to get. So she stood to make only $50,000, whereas Too Faced stood to make approximately $10 million for this collaboration. So if you do a percentage calculation, that means that Nikki was officially paid 0.05% of this collaboration. Oofed. 0.05% is nothing, and that's what hurts my heart. In my opinion, I don't really see this one as Nikki's fault. In my opinion, I think she was young, she was naive, she was excited, and she was taken for a ride. Something that she's definitely commented on about later, and I definitely don't think that she will ever let something like this happen again. Then in September of 2016, and the last story of 2016 that I could find, but I'm probably missing something because there's still like, come on, math. There's still another 3 months left to the year, and I'm sure something happened in those 3 months, but I just couldn't find it. Either way, ColourPop was back in the headlines with another drama with their Sculpt Sticks, a range of 12 shades designed for contouring. They looked cute, there was a decent-ish shade range, but the issue that people had was with some of the naming of the shades, being 3 of the darker shades. Surely there has to be some sort of marketing team when it comes to each makeup company that is in charge of shade names and being able to pick if they're stupid or not. 3 of the darker shades had the names Doom, Typo, and Yikes. People were of course incredibly upset with this. Some people taking to Twitter saying, hey, ColourPop, my skin color isn't a yikes. My skin color isn't a typo. Like, if you can't think of fun names, just name them after numbers. C1. I don't know what the C stands for, but C1, perfect. Colourpop, of course, apologized for this and discontinued the shades with those names, and then I think eventually came out with those same shades again, or maybe slightly different, and came out with them being named something different because they learnt from said oversight, which... How is that an oversight? So that is 2016. That's it. That's some of the biggest things that happened in 2016. We got through it. We got through it together. Do you need to pause the video? Because 2017 just gets worse. It just somehow gets so much worse. We're starting off with the big guns again because Kylie is once again in the headlines. Of course. Because in February, once again, Kylie Cosmetics is being called out for faulty makeup because one of the eyeshadow palettes, Royal Peach, was actually giving customers headaches when they used it. Makeup isn't supposed to do that. People had complaints of a strong chemical odor coming from this palette and it just smelling foul in general. There was also officially 15 complaints lodged to the Better Business Bureau, the Triple B. Their findings that it was just the glue that was holding the eyeshadow palette together, but that the eyeshadows themselves were indeed safe. From my research, I couldn't actually find a statement that Kylie made herself on the situation. I think she just let Kylie Cosmetics, From my research, I couldn't find an official statement from Kylie. I'm pretty sure Kylie Cosmetics made a statement, but Kylie herself didn't, so it was probably her PR team. But she could have in the past. I just can't find it. It's 36 hours of research apparently just wasn't enough. Then in February of 2017, James Charles finally makes an appearance in the history of the beauty community's dramas and scandals with his famous Ebola tweets. Ugh. I think at this point, everyone knows the specific tweets that I'm talking about. James Charles was, of course, called out for racism and stereotyping. This was also in the timeline where James was the first male cover girl, and CoverGirl released a statement that James's tweets do not reflect any of their views. James also later issued an apology. The only thing that I remember from the apology, and I had to double check that it actually happened because I thought it was a bit of a fever dream, turns out it actually happened. He got called out and was just roasted to filth because he called Africa a country when Africa is in fact a continent. It took a bit, but seemingly the internet forgave James and forgave him for these tweets. But the drama in February for James Charles did not stop there because another beauty creator, Thomas Halbert, exposed James for falsifying the very thing that popped off his career in the first place. So James Charles initially got a lot of notoriety for a post he made on Twitter about how he was so extra that he made the photo company retake his graduation photos, but with a ring light because he really wanted his highlighter to pop. People were obsessed with it and how extra it was, and they're like, yes, get it, queen. And that's how he got a lot of notoriety and eventually even got the gig with CoverGirl. Thomas exposed some texts or DMs that the two exchanged. Thomas saying, well, you faked the graduation photos and the internet still doesn't know. And James saying something along the lines of, haha, don't tell them or I'll kill you, or something like that. I'm pretty sure when he texted that was a joke. Thomas uploaded those to Twitter and was like, hey guys, have a field day. And everyone was calling out James, being like, you falsified them? That's so crazy. But also, in my mind with that one, if he was so extra to say that he retook the photos in the first place, I'm pretty sure he's that extra that he would falsify him taking the photos in the first place. If that makes sense. Regardless, I think this spicy bit of tea is just another load of high school BS. Then we jump to March, and guess who is in the headlines again? If you said Kylie Cosmetics, you are correct, because then we had the Kylie Cosmetics Kylighter issue where people bought the Kylighters, they arrived at the house, they opened up the box, but there's no highlighter in them. There's oversights. But then there's oversights. How do you just forget to put the actual makeup in the packaging and then send it off? Whatever, by the looks of it, the people that got the empty packages were given replacements, this time with highlighter in them. Good job, guys. Imagine just open, it's just, how is that an oversight? People got replacements, people eventually got their highlighters. Once again, I couldn't find a statement from Kylie. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. I genuinely don't know. But I think at this point, if she hasn't made two statements about two of her very recent controversies happening within only a few months of each other, she's probably leaving any negativity for the PR team to deal with, but any positivity she will comment directly on. Ethically or morally, It's up for interpretation, but business-wise, I think that's probably a smart move. Then in May, Morphe came under fire during the Jaclyn Hill brush collaboration launch that they had. When people were showing the product, it was shown to be excellent quality, but when they received the product, the quality just wasn't the same. The bristles were going everywhere. They just felt really scratchy. They weren't as luxurious as everyone was led to believe. So people genuinely had issue with that, which is fair enough. If you're being told that you're getting something, but then you get something else, of course you're going to feel duped and feel a bit bitter about the whole entire situation. But this situation was more than just quality because people found out about the existence of Crown brushes. Crown is an Australian makeup company that allows for other makeup companies to private label their own products. Simply put, private labeling is just one company makes the makeup, another company sees the makeup, asks if they can put the name on that makeup and sells it as their own. Ethically, morally, and business-wise, it's all up for debate whether it's a good or a bad thing, but allegedly Morphe had private labeled Crown brushes. And also allegedly in June when Jaclyn and Morphe launched their first eyeshadow collaboration together. People of course felt lied to by Morphe and by Jaclyn because people were led to believe that Morphe had designed and manufactured everything with Jaclyn, collaborating quite heavily with them. But if they did private label Crown brushes, it seems almost impossible that that was a thing. These are still just allegations because I couldn't find any concrete information to say whether or not they were all privately labeled. This is still all kind of theory, but there is some strong evidence to suggest that it was privately labeled. But regardless, lying by omission is still lying. Then, if you thought that the James Charles situation was enough, boy oh boy, are you about to be disappointed, because in June 2017, Jeffree Star came under fire with a racism scandal. Because videos in Jeffree's past were refound by the internet, some of these including him saying the N-word, but also a video collaboration between Jeffree and another online creator resurfaced where there was lots of stereotypes and Jeffree making a comment about how they should use battery acid to lighten someone's skin tone. Jeffree was of course heavily criticized and was on the verge of being cancelled because of this. The clips that I'm specifying can be seen in the second last episode of the first docuseries between Shane and Jeffree. I have already discussed my opinions on this situation and on this scandal in my rewatching of the Shane and Jeffree docuseries, so if you are interested in a further analysis of that one, please go check out that video. But I'm just going to put it simply: gross, disgusting behavior. This next scandal is from July, and it's not specifically about anything related to makeup, but it is from a creator who did primarily beauty content. So Simply Kenna. So Simply Kenna was known for her soft, poetic aesthetics and vibes, and also just her gentle nature. But her character really started to come into question when she was posting original artwork onto various social media sites. She did that in the form of showing off her tattoos and also her sketches, drawings, and just photos that she put onto Instagram and Tumblr. She would specify that they were original artwork, but led people to believe that it was her original artwork, therefore lying by omission. When fans commented asking if they could take inspiration from her artwork, she would make sure to comment back saying just make sure to give her credit, because credit is a very important thing in the world, even though wasn't her original artwork. Then if someone was to copy it and didn't give her credit, whether it was a fan or not, she would call them out for plagiarism. So this was also another pot meet kettle kind of situation. But unfortunately for some people, she had a lot of diehard fans, which is great, don't get me wrong, but those diehard fans would bully and harass people quite harshly if they were called out for plagiarism. And she never discouraged this kind of behavior, which people felt it was her responsibility to discourage, because people were getting bullied, people were getting harassed, and I saw some of the it was harsh. But eventually Kenna did apologize twice. The first apology was found to be quite weird and quite fake because she did it in the way of a poem, which, like, cute idea in theory, but the execution of it just didn't feel okay, and it made quite a lot of people angry because, as I said, it did come across as fake. But it not only came across as fake, it also came across as Kenna not really understanding the severity of the situation and the severity of the bullying that her fans were inflicting onto people. So Kenna eventually made a second apology, specifying that the first apology just wasn't okay and that she was sorry for the first apology and sorry for everything else that happened. Seemingly Kenna has kept at least some sort of a career, but has also changed their name since. But the internet did have a bit of a sour taste left in their mouth for Kenna after this scandal, after all of this drama, and after how it was handled. I'm so sorry for my lighting today. I don't know what's happening. I think it's because when I started filming, it was day, and now it's night. But if you thought that James and Jeffrey were enough for the year, apparently not, because another beauty creator, Kathleen Lights, was posted on Jacqueline Hill's Snapchat for saying the N-word. All I know is that Kathleen was playing a VR game and she said the N-word and was just saying some other expletives whilst in the middle of gameplay. As soon as she said it, she said to Jacqueline, hey, don't post that. Jacqueline posted it anyway. Kathleen, of course, posted an apology saying that she was sorry, but in the apology, one of her excuses was that she was drunk. So the apology wasn't well received by a lot of people, but this apology isn't for mine to accept. So that's just the rundown of this situation. Either way, stupid. And then it just keeps on going because in September, Tut posted a picture of their palette tartlet with a meme. The meme was racist. The first apology seemingly was blaming an intern and saying that they got fired for it, and then people didn't receive that as well and saw that as the intern being used as a bit of a scapegoat. The CEO of Tut eventually put out another apology taking more accountability and specified that more education would be given to the Tut team to make sure that this wouldn't happen again. Once again, just stupid, didn't have to happen. I don't understand. I could literally rename this video Watch Reifenstein Lose Her Mind for X amount of time because I don't even know how long this video is going to end up being. In October, this isn't specifically a beauty drama, but it involves a few beauty creators. The most noted is Zoella. In October, Zoella and a few other creators, some of them being beauty creators, promoted an event called Hello World. Hello World, from what I could find, was essentially a British VidCon run by creators for the audience. Cool, sounds good in theory. People were told that there was going to be no queues, there was going to be Q&As, there was going to be meet and greets, there was going to be some live shows, there was going to be some rides, some articles have specified. It was just going to be a good old fun time like nothing you've seen on earth. And people paid like €100 for a ticket. And then the event happened. And it was nothing like it was specified. People were promised all of this stuff if they bought a ticket and they showed up, and it just, like, next to none of it happened. There was a few people that were happy with how it worked out, but then there was a lot of people who were just angry, pissed off, livid, because it felt like these creators specifically were exploiting their audience and charging them money and promising them all of these things, but just not coming through with the goods. And in all honesty, from what I've read and what I've watched of the situation, I don't blame anyone for it. If people had a good experience, good on you. I'm so happy for you. I'm so glad that you got what you paid for, but unfortunately, a lot of people just didn't. I still have 2 things to go through, and all I've got is lips left. So I'm gonna try and get this bad boy going so that I can... It's just gonna happen how it's gonna happen. The next 2 things I have to talk about, one of them's pretty heavy, one of them's pretty easy to get through. So I'm gonna try and get through both of them in a decent amount of time. So the next one that I have to talk about is John Kuckian. I actually used to watch his content at one point, back when I was like a lot more naive. With his situation, I couldn't find a concrete timeline. There was just a lot of stuff happening at the same time in like a lot of things, but there was 2 big incidents that I wanted to highlight. The other stuff just kind of seemed a little bit petty. John Kuckian was a tea drama channel, and he got called out a lot for just malicious content, just vicious lies, and just turning anthills into huge erupting volcanoes. He also made his own makeup line in this time frame that was heavily criticized, and altogether the criticisms of the makeup line and his content and how malicious and vicious it was started the downfall of John Kuckian. The first point of this downfall is one that I only want to talk briefly about because there are some serious crimes and allegations that were thrown around at the time, and I would want to give justice to the information and communicate it in a clear way where everyone was able to have the correct information, but I don't think I could do that to the correct capacity, so I want to keep this very, very brief. Allegedly, John and another tea channel had a lot of beef. I hate this one. John then made and posted a video where he didn't explicitly say it, but he gave a lot of circumstantial evidence that is allegedly false, that painted this other tea channel to be a predator. John has allegedly presented BS allegations and made money off of the video, and accused another creator of some really serious crimes. And in all honesty, he looked quite excited and was giggling in the video where he was presenting this alleged evidence. As I said, I don't want to give too much information on this one because enough damage has already been done to someone's career, to someone's life, to someone's well-being, and I don't want to be part of an RS glory and gold situation. The second issue is Kuckian cosmetics. A lot of people said that they were lied to about the quality, production, and manufacturing of the cosmetics line itself. Also, one of the shades and its name were very similar to another big company's shade and name. A company that he had talked about very heavily in his videos and criticized very, very heavily. So people found that quite hypocritical. There was also an issue with the site crashing the day that the makeup launched, but another YouTube tea channel has apparently debunked this and said that that was just false. Also, allegedly, there was a charity that Kuckian started that seemed to go nowhere. Also, allegedly, there was a private party for a meet and greet or the makeup launch that was supposed to happen that apparently also went nowhere. Wrap all these allegations up into one neat little package and you seem to have a creator who is quite bitter, malicious, and money motivated in a cruel kind of way. Then we have the last scandal drama tea of 2017, and that is Zoella's advent calendar. Around the Christmas period of 2017, Zoella collaborated with a company called Boots to create her 12 Days of Christmas advent calendar, the price of it being €50. And of course, as always, when people received their 12 Days of Christmas advent calendar, people were disappointed in the quality and felt as though they had been lied to. The content of the advent calendar was seemingly cheap, containing things like a Christmas bauble, 2 candles, a pen, a pencil case, a notepad, a sticker collection, some glitter, a pom-pom keyring, and 2 cookie cutters. Sorry, also a room spray, all for £50. Zoella and Boots, of course, received a lot of backlash for this because it seemed once again that people were exploiting the audience of a creator just for money. Zoella made an apology video that was not well received because it felt very condescending in tone, and also she seemed to place all of the blame solely on Boots. But after all of the backlash, Boots did slash the prices down by half, so it was only £25 instead of the original 50. And that is it. Oh, that's 2017 done. That's the end of the video, goodbye. Researching is one thing, writing it out's another, doing the videos another, editing's gonna be a time. What am I at for mic wise? The moment I'm sitting on 3 hours and 22 minutes worth of footage. Love that for me. That's it. That's everything I could find. If I've missed something, I'm sorry, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. I'm so sorry. I couldn't find it. There's a lot here. I'm sorry. This is as good as I could do. How are we all doing? Are we doing good? Are we doing good? Yeah. Usually at this point, I'm like, ultimately, and then I summarize everything. I don't know how to summarize this. So that's just everything. How are you all doing? Let me know down in the comments if you even got this far. If you did, you deserve a medal. Thank you so much to everyone who has commented on the community post because you have made the research to these videos so much easier, and I love you so much and I am so appreciative of your existence. Oh my gosh! Let me know down in the comments if I've missed anything because I genuinely want to know if I've missed anything. Let me know down in the comments any tea, drama, or scandals that you want me to talk about in the 2018 to the present day video that I will be filming in the next few days. I need a bit of a breather from this one, I'm not gonna lie. I need some air. Either way, let me know down in the comments all of that. Also, let me know down in the comments your opinions of everything, whether it's the whole entire thing, bits and pieces of the whole entire video. It's a long video. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of just, it's one hell of a timeline. I'm not gonna lie. Also, the makeup. What are we thinking about the cool tones? Do we like her? I think she's cute. I don't. Oh, wait, it's duochrome if I look down. Wait, she's green. She's gold. She's green. She's gold. She's green. She's gold. She's green. Duochrome, such a good idea. I'm so glad that I went for duochrome. But let me know, what do you think of the cool tones? Do we like the cool tones on me? Maybe I'll do some more cool tones. Also, this lip gloss. Ooh, she went for a cool nude. See? Keeping the theme going. But that is it for the first part of this 2-part video. I hope that you enjoyed what was supposed to be a less dense video from me. I don't think that's what's actually happened. Oh, good intentions, terrible execution. Either way, I just hope that you are having a fantastic day, a fantastic week, a fantastic month, a fantastic year. And I hope that you are doing as fantastic as always. Bye everyone. Woo!